guys, it's another day, it's another night, and it's another video for Oral in Rooms Division. So today I'll be answering some questions about this subject and let's see what's next. So for the first question, we have give 3 examples of housekeeping requests that may be made by the guest. So for this question, usually the guest's requests to the housekeeping department are going around with 3 things. First is by requesting extra items for their need during their stay in the hotel. Next is by requesting some devices or other things that they need during their stay. And lastly is by having them a demonstration regarding with the thing that they've requested when they're staying in the room. So for the next question, why is it important to advise the guest how long a request may be completed? For this question, it is very essential to be able to say to the guest how much time would it took for making a request or things that they wanted. It is because to give a mindset of guests how much long would be waiting as for making their request or anything that they wanted. Because remember, time of guest will always be essential when it comes to hotel industry. So here's the third question. Give 2 instances in which a housekeeper liaise with another staff to help deliver a service requested by a hotel guest. So the 2 instances where usually the housekeeper asks for a cooperation with another department is when it comes to repairing things into the rooms of the guests, because usually the maintenance department was the ones who's responsible or capable of doing these things. And another thing is by having the front office. When it comes to front office, they usually get into many departments, and if ever a guest has a request that the front office is only capable of complying it will be the thing that would be optional for the housekeeping. So as for the fourth question, why is it useful to demonstrate how to use an item requested by the guest as opposed to judge delivering it to the guest room? So in this question, it is very useful to demonstrate the use of the main device as the guest's request, because not all of the guests are capable or knowledgeable on how to use these equipments. So it is very better to do that. Teaching them in the first time of usage it can also prevent the mistakes may happen. So having them a thought on how to use these devices would also help the guests to assure that they can really use these devices. And it also prevents to make some damages at the end of the day. So now we are in the fifth question. The guest asks for the number of maintenance department. Are you going to give it to them, or are you going to ask them if there is a room concern and why? So as for this question, my very first option is to really know what is the concern of the guest regarding with his or her room. And after that, I will be offering a hand to give an assistance regarding with his or her concern. And lastly, my last option is to really give the number of the maintenance department. But being that said, before I gave that number, I must know what is the main purpose of the guest regarding with the maintenance department. So moving on, we are in the sixth question. Give 3 examples of suspicious or dangerous circumstances you would report to the management when providing housekeeping services to the guests. So the 3 major things that should be reported to the management when we saw this in a certain room is when it comes to blood stains. If the blood stain is too much, it might cause something suspicious within that room. So it should be reported within the management so they can investigate it along the way. The next thing is by having a suspicious package in a certain room. It could be reported to the management and also be as if the guests have been known about that package, and if not, it should be raised to the authority to have an investigation regarding with it for everyone's safety. And the third thing is being able to saw a weapon within the room. It could be a very suspicious thing and it should be forwarded to the management so they can also investigate. So the next question is we have, what are the examples of inappropriate behavior that an employee must be aware of? How would you respond appropriately? So one great example when it comes to this is when there are people or guests who swears a words to a certain employee or other guests. It is usually handled by having firstly an approach with the guest regarding with what happened, and also at the same time the manager would also know what would be the side of the main employee that is being affected. After that, it will be processed as they make a decision. But usually in this part, if the guests were the ones who really swear the employee for just doing small things that they make it bigger, usually the guests were the ones who's capable of having a payment when it comes to damages when it comes to employees, because as we say, it is also by law that abusive words could also be a cause of an improper action when it comes to public areas, and at the same time the main right of our employee is being affected and it can cause damages to them also emotionally and mentally. So it can be end into demanding the guesses or other options rather than this. It could be also settled if there is a settlement happen. So the next question is, give examples of areas that are considered unsecured. Usually in this, things are very unsecured when it comes to having an adjustment or arrangement into broken glasses or broken doors. It is very unsecured for the guests to go there. And also at the same time, we have some expensive things that is very pleasing or very catchy to the eyes of the thieves. As we say, it is the area where the cashier counter or register is being located. So these areas are very unsecured. So second to the last question, we have, what are the actions to take when handling a suspicious package? So when it comes to this, we saw a very suspicious package. Usually, it is very important to firstly report it with the management. After that is being able to make a secure in this place to avoid the people or guests to contact within this area, because we never know if this item is really capable of damaging too much people or place when it comes to this package. And the next thing after being said to the management is being able to forward it with the authorities who are very capable of knowing what would be this item really is. So by acting on how would be the main situation is by being able not to really touch the suspicious package, because touching it may cause another factor. Next is make an immediate inquiries to the owner or the main guests of that room regarding with that package. After that is to call the police and say what were the findings you were know about this package. And second to the last is to being able to evacuate immediately the people around that area. And lastly is to really strictly turn off all devices that may trigger an explosion in regarding with this package. Because first of all, our main agenda here is to make everybody secure. Also at the same time, to limit the informations being scattered around the area because these might cause shock or too much panic to the other people or guests around the hotel area. So lastly, we have the last question, which is what is the golden rule when it comes to handling BAM threats? So the main golden rule when it comes to handling BAM threats is to really evacuate the people or guests within the hotel within 3 minutes. Why? Because this is the allotted time wherein all people are very capable of getting outside of the area to lessen the damages and also the risk of having a such inconvenient incidents when it comes to hotel. It is very also not optional to really say to the guests what is really happening because it might cause too much panic and it can end into many certain problems. So guys, that's all for today. Thank you for having too much patience in listening to my oral and see you in the next video.